Today's guest is Lillie Kane, a certified nutrition health coach and a full-time YouTuber with 502,000 subscribers who's built one of the most refreshingly honest channels in the health and wellness space. She doesn't follow trends, she doesn't follow diets, and she doesn't follow rules. She follows the data, including her own blood work on camera in real time.
How I eat is very simple and minimalistic and not very complicated, but it's shocking to people. So then people ask me more questions about health. And from there, I just continue to make content on health and nutrition. And my whole goal with the YouTube channel initially was to bring people more joy. If I can bring people health, I can bring them joy as a byproduct. Change my flippin' life.
But before any of that, Lillie grew up in an abusive home, relied on food stamps, and at just 16 years old, legally became an emancipated minor with no parents, no money, and no roadmap.
My mom and dad met out of their shared addiction for drugs and alcohol, which a relationship like that doesn't typically last for very long. And so there was just a lot of instability and chaos. So when I was 16 and she said, "That's it, I never want to see or hear from you again," I legally became an emancipated minor. I felt like finally the chains had been broken free.
And what she figured out about food, freedom, and building a life from nothing is something every woman needs to hear. I'm Erika, Vieira, a YouTube strategist who's worked with nearly 2,000 female business owners, creatives, and entrepreneurs over the last decade. This show is about real conversations on what it really takes to grow on YouTube. To learn more about working directly with me and access to my free live YouTube workshop, check out the description below. Ladies, class is in session. Let's talk to Lillie. Well, hello, Lillie. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So we got to start here. What did YouTube make possible for you in your life that maybe you didn't think was possible?
Well, I think that with my childhood growing up, my expectations for just like what I would achieve in life were quite low. My biggest goal as a young person was just to be able to live in a van by myself with a dog. So to be able to pay for rent in an apartment. Wow, that's like a highlight for me. To be able to buy a home and pay it off in 10 months and have no debt, no car payment, no credit card loans, no home payment or college debt, and just live a free life and be able to wake up each day and love what I do and be able to do it for free, essentially, because I would do it for free and I really don't have any incentive to need to do it, I feel like. To me, it's just it gave me a life where I get to be excited and joyful every day.
And how long ago did you start your YouTube channel?
I started it at the end of 2020, but it really, I didn't get monetized or understand YouTube more until 2021. So I usually just say 2021 since I had some pretty embarrassing videos at the end of 2020. And so it's been, 5.5 years.
So for people that don't know you and your story, can you give me a, Cliff Notes version of your life story, and then also just how YouTube has now been that next chapter and how that's effectively changed your life?
So my mom and dad met out of their shared addiction for drugs and alcohol, which a relationship like that doesn't typically last for very long. And so when I was about 4 years old, my parents started going through a divorce. And who got custody over my sister and I? The judge told my parents that they had to go to AA. My dad didn't. My mom did. So she got full custody over my sister and I. And eventually my dad just kind of got out of the picture and didn't come around, wasn't paying child support. And so I haven't seen or heard from him since I was 7, 8, 9 years old. And meanwhile, even though my mom temporarily got sober to gain custody, eventually she went down the road again of more drugs and alcohol and had different boyfriends rotating through the house constantly. The police were over at my house regularly. And so there was just a lot of instability and chaos. I would say my mom tried her best as a single parent, but because of that, she didn't have a lot of money because she couldn't keep a job. And so we grew up on food stamps. She didn't go to college. I didn't have a lot of support in that area of become a businesswoman or be an entrepreneur. I didn't have a huge role model in that sense. When I was 13, she evicted my sister and I, which sounds like we were bad kids, but I'm telling you, we were straight A's. We were deacons and greeters at our church. We were involved in different sports, track and field, volleyball. We were doing theater performances and art and volunteer club, and we were involved in all sorts of different activities intentionally to keep us out of the house longer so we wouldn't have to go home to the chaos.
Mm-hmm.
And so we didn't cuss at our mom. We were always very kind and patient with her. and she got sober again temporarily until we moved back in. And then again, at 16 years old, she ended up saying she never wanted to see or hear from me ever again.
How do we
And then
evict? Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you, but like,
it really, I don't even think it counted. I just think it was
like,
just
how
like,
do you evict a 13? Like, how do you evict like a minor like that? Like, how do you
I think it was real. Like, she just put a paper on the door and it didn't matter because we didn't want to like live there anyway. So my mom did meet somebody when she was sober the first time around when I was 5 and she was going through the divorce. And so that guy, his name is John. And so he stayed together with my mom probably longer than they needed to be because anytime they would break up, we would beg him, please don't leave us, please. And like be crying at like young little kids. And so he ended up being our like father figure. So we moved in with him multiple times and I still have a great relationship with him. He's like my dad.
Yeah.
And
you lucked out. That part of the story is really fascinating to me. I think what an amazing man that he essentially like not legally, but basically adopted you guys when you had this crazy mom. He didn't have to do that. And
no, he was young too.
Yeah, how old was he?
He was 24 when I met him.
Wow. And you were like 5, you said?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And do you think having him has really impacted you in where you're at right now?
100%, because I think he was that stability that we needed. Not that we needed like it every single day, but it ended up working out for a while where we lived. Yeah. So we would live with my mom like Monday through Friday. And even though they were never married, he had no like custody over us. Yeah. She still knew that we really loved him. And so she would let us stay with him on the weekends. And so he was not rich again. He was like 25 and like just tried his best over here, but he would still at least pay for our backpack or like pay for us to have like top ramen or some food on the table. And so I think my mom allowed us to like stay with him on the weekends because it like kind of helped her financially as well. And so, yeah, it was really nice to have him just for fun. Like we had so much fun with him and playing video games and just having an escape really.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Mm-hmm. And then so just to finish out your story, basically your mom kicked you out at 13, but then brought you back in when she got sober. So then what happened?
So when I was 16 and she said, that's it, I never want to see or hear from you again, I legally became an emancipated minor. So I had to go to juvenile court and like basically show them I have straight A's and I have a job. I work at Baskin Robbins, 31 flavors ice cream, and I have a car and I can like be my own adult. And so then they knew I would live with John as well. And so that was actually my senior year. And my senior year was like a dream come true because I felt like finally the chains had been broken free. I didn't have to like constantly second guess. Is she going to show up at my school drunk and be arrested in front of me, like all the kids in my school again?
That happened.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was just really embarrassing. Like I was in volleyball and she would show up and just be drunk and making a scene. It was really
so unfair,
uncomfortable as a young person.
So unfair.
But it ended up being a huge blessing in the sense that year, my senior year, I was able to apply to a bunch of different scholarships. And I think because I have a great story, not that it's a great story, but it's a story of overcoming adversity and then still being able to get straight A's and be a part of all the sports and be successful in those areas. Then I was able to win every single scholarship I applied to.
Wow.
And I ended up getting to go to college for free, which was
good for you.
It was a school that was $50,000 a year. So to be able to like have that was huge, and have the encouragement from John, who even he didn't go to college at the time. We graduated together at one point.
Wow.
So, but he still encouraged me. He's like, you should go to school for, economics and accounting and money side of things. And so actually that was my degree, was in economics and management and accounting. And so yes, John was definitely a staple and a rock, but also pushed us to like know that there's possibilities.
Yeah.
And from there to the YouTube side of things, once I graduated college, I met my now husband pretty quickly. So I met him when I was 22. And this is actually right around we were together for about a year until the pandemic happened. And then at that point in time, I knew I wanted to share my story of childhood, but I didn't want to make a whole YouTube channel about that whole thing. I actually read a book. It's called The Millionaire Messenger by Brendon Burchard. And he talks about how all of us have a story. Now, maybe your story isn't as is extreme. Maybe your story is, I'm a carpenter and I know how to make benches, or I'm a mom and I know how to raise kids, or we all have different things that we're good at, or even that we've failed at. And by sharing your story, your mistakes, your struggles, you can really save someone a ton of time. You can help people not feel alone. You can give people hope. You can help people lose weight. So there's so many things that you can do to help other people. And at that time, I had watched a Mr. Beast video. I had never really watched YouTube before, but I saw this guy giving away cars and houses and money. And I was like, oh my gosh, I would love to do that. I want to bring people joy. So I'm going to share my story because I think that'll be helpful, but I don't want a whole YouTube channel about overcoming your childhood trauma.
Yes.
So I figured I'd just post a video, and before I knew it, be giving away cars and Lamborghinis. Turns out that's not how YouTube works.
No.
So I actually initially my YouTube channel was about crafts. So I would make crafting.
Crafting. Okay. Okay.
So I would make a candle or make a Christmas wreath, and I'd say,
DIY.
Exactly. And say, if you subscribe, you can win this free candle.
That I
thinking I was Mr. Beast, right? And so that really didn't work too well.
Okay.
But it was just kind of my play time where I was just experimenting. Okay, but what about if I share what to buy for Christmas? What if I share what to get your boyfriend for Valentine's Day? What I eat in a day? Oh my goodness. And that right there was the thing that kind of picked up and went more viral for me, is sharing what I ate in a day. Got 500,000 views, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And I think it's because how I eat is very simple and minimalistic and not very complicated but it's shocking to people. So then people ask me more questions about health and how to lose weight and how to track your macros and what about heart disease. And from there, I just continued to make content on health and nutrition. And my whole goal with the YouTube channel initially was to bring people more joy during the pandemic time, because I felt like people were more in some doom and gloom moments, and I wanted to be a ray of sunshine. And so then I basically...
I'm looking for it now.
Oh, it's definitely private, girl. It was embarrassing.
Private? You privated it?
Yeah, it was embarrassing.
Oh, because I was looking to see what's your oldest. So here, so that was before all these interviews and stuff like that.
Yeah,
right?
It was right around that time still, but I think I was just really excited to share that. It may have even me today, if I watched it, I would feel like I looked like I was just too excited.
Yeah.
Let's just say it that way.
It's a little too try hard, a little too too much.
Yeah.
Okay.
People loved it though. Turns out, obviously, it got a lot of views and a lot of attention.
Yeah. So, okay. So you had that video that got 500,000 videos. I'm sorry, 500,000 views. And then you're like, okay, this is it. Right. This is what I'm going to talk about. So did you decide to lean into that direction?
Yes, because a lot of the questions and comments, but what about coffee? Or does it have to be organic? Or, if you eat butter, aren't you going to clog your arteries? And so I would bring on doctors and interview them to be like, hey, I don't want you to hear from me. I want you to hear from them when it comes to some of the medical things. And then from there, though, so many people started asking, well, Lillie, could you help me with coaching? I want to lose weight. I want to know my macros. I want to have less gut issues. I want to have better sleep, more energy. And so I started offering one-on-one coaching through the demand of people asking about it and not being able to respond to every single comment in detail. And but the whole, again, reason I started the YouTube channel initially was to bring people joy. And I realized that it's really hard to be joyful if you're not healthy. If you don't feel well, if you're not sleeping, if you have digestive issues, if you're not confident in your skin, all of these things. And so if I can bring people health, I can bring them joy as a byproduct. And I try to make my videos not super educational, but a little bit spunky, silly, smiley Lillie.
Yes. You have that fun personality. And it's so funny because when I first discovered you, I was, intrigued in the nutrition content and looking, and when I saw your story, I was like, gosh, you have such a positive energy around you, especially somebody that's gone through so much at a young age. So, but okay, this is very interesting. So you said it was around 2020, 2021 when this all happened, but you went to school for economics. So were you working a full-time job? Was this just a side hobby? How did this become an actual business for you?
Great question. So they said during the pandemic that the average American had $200 to their bank account. Now, granted, I grew up very low income, didn't have money, didn't have support, and yet your girl had like thousands of dollars by the time she graduated high school. Not because I was gifted all this money, but because when the tooth fairy would leave me $1 or I would get $5 for my birthday or whatnot. And then, yes, working at Baskin Robbins at 15, I saved my money. And it was just like something I think because I had such financial struggles as a young person, I had this like, I am not going to be that person who has no money. And so I like hoard it like a squirrel with its nuts. And I probably take it to the extreme where now I can afford a lot more, but I still live like I'm like poor. Like I have PTSD, I think, from it too, where my mom would yell at my sister and I get out of the shower. You're using all the hot water and costing us money. So like to this day, if a light's on in the other bedroom, I'm like running over to turn it off to like save the money.
Yes.
Save $5 pennies maybe.
Yeah.
And so when I worked after college, I worked for Enterprise Rent-A-Car, and that's where I met my husband. And then from there,
he was working at Enterprise as well. Okay.
And so he was one of the top bosses. And with Enterprise, once we started dating, you're not allowed to like work under one another. Okay. And so he ran 5 of the locations, and there was only so many in Maui that essentially I knew his goal was to run the whole branch or the whole island essentially. And so I knew my job there was going to be over pretty quickly. Yeah. And so I ended up getting into timeshare sales and marketing through
Maui,
the high.
I mean, there's a lot of that.
Yep. Yeah. And so at 22 years old, I started making 6 figures, which was absolutely mind-boggling to me.
Good for you.
And was super successful with that. And I think like how I think I was able to be successful was by just providing as much value as humanly possible. I would bust out a whole map of Maui and be like, eat here at 5 p.m. You're going to see the sunsets. The whales are going to jump up. Drive here. Do it at this time. And I'd mark up the whole map. And then I'd be like, and now luau tickets are expensive and I need you to go to see this timeshare tour.
Yes. I can see you doing really well with that.
Or at minimum, just being able to make someone smile and laugh. And whether they do the timeshare tour or not didn't matter as much to me as just like being really helpful.
Yes. Providing value.
Yeah. And so from there, I was able to save some good money at that point. And then my husband just so happened to buy a condo in Maui and flip it pretty well, where he had, he made a couple hundred grand on it. And so when the pandemic happened, we actually just straight up quit our jobs. Moved in with mother-in-law in the basement, started the YouTube channel in the basement. And so we kind of were in a position in Pittsburgh.
You move. So you left. Well, I would imagine there's not much in car rental or timeshare sales going on during the pandemic too.
Right. And I had got my real estate license during that time too. So I ended up being my husband's like realtor and selling his condo. And then we basically sold everything. We had one suitcase go to my mother-in-law. She's like, where's all of your guys' stuff? We had nothing. And she is retired and she is so lovely. She lives by herself and she would have loved for us to just keep living there forever.
Yeah.
And so part of us was like, okay, well, according to the numbers, we could technically not work for the rest of our life and just live with our wonderful mother-in-law.
Yes, because we have enough saved. And
we have enough saved and she's not going to charge us rent or anything.
Exactly.
That lasted for about 6 months. And I'm like kind of, I would say a go-getter or really, I want a lot out of life, I think.
Yes.
So I couldn't sit still. And I was like, I'm starting YouTube.
Yeah.
Just because, not that I had to, I didn't need to. I just wanted to do it again out of just wanting to bring joy and have something creative to, use as an outlet. So no, I didn't have a job and I didn't make any money and I was just doing it for fun.
Did you think you were going to make money from it though?
I had no idea how that worked. I didn't really.
You weren't even looking to make money from it. You just wanted something to do.
Yeah.
Okay. And
I didn't know how you made money from it. It wasn't until later I was like, oh.
Yeah. And then, okay. Because I know your husband works with you now, but at that time when you started YouTube, what was he doing? Was he doing his own thing or was he just like, I'll help you with this like hobby or?
We both didn't have jobs when I started it, but it was still at that point where even though I love my mother-in-law, she's like a golden gem. There's something about wanting your own home and your own space and being an adult. And so I kind of was pressing my husband. I was like, do something. And so he ended up wanting to try chiropractic school because my father-in-law has been doing chiropractic for 52 years. And so that's what brought us down to St. Louis, Missouri is because my husband started going to chiropractic school. But that was only temporary because then the YouTube channel started picking up and I was like, hey, pause that. I'm going to have to hire people. I'm going to have to, spend more money. So instead, how about you just help us grow. And
Okay.
he's actually the one who had more of the nutrition and health background. And so it was really great because he was able to tell me some advice on like certain things that I was talking about and saying, well, actually, from a male's perspective, try this, or from an older person's perspective, this is,
Mm.
something to consider. So
All right. So then at what point did you actually start making money on your channel when you realized, oh, okay, so this is like, this is a career for me, or this is a job for me?
So let's say I started in 2021. And so for simplicity, that whole year of 2021, we made well, it was by myself at that point. I made a whopping $6,000.
Okay. The whole year. And
So
that was probably
whole
from
year.
AdSense.
Yes, mainly from AdSense or maybe, $10 from an affiliate link of
Mm-hmm.
selling salt or something like that. But yeah, it was mainly, I made 2 videos every single week. So that's how many?
That's like 100 and
100 something videos for free for a whole year
Yeah.
for $6,000.
Yeah. And you were able to do that because you're staying at your mother-in-law's house. That's the thing.
No, at this point we had actually moved to St. Louis. So we're paying rent and we're paying for my husband's chiropractic
but you had all the
school.
money saved from when your husband sold that condo. I'm assuming
Yes.
all the money you saved from.
Yes, but I'll tell you, 50 grand of it flew away really quickly with the chiropractic school. Plus we're paying for rent. Plus we're paying for everything. So we were absolutely like losing money every single month.
Okay, so you had some motivation. Did you have some motivation at that point to make some money then? And then you thought then at some point, I'm assuming you were like, okay, it's going to have to be YouTube. So what got to the point where like, I guess what I'm trying to understand is like, you started YouTube without it, like not even knowing it can make you money, not really needing to make the money. But then at some point you're like, okay, now I've actually got to make this thing happen. When did that happen for you? And like, how did you then change the way that you approached YouTube?
To be honest, I kind of felt like it was a game and just like super fun and just wanting to optimize and grow. And I think that humans, whether you do YouTube or something else, we have this innate like sense of wanting to be more and to grow. And I really found so much value in helping people as well, to see them say that they're losing weight and they're learning about turning over their package of their food and reading the ingredients label, and just seeing these stories made me even more motivated. Honestly, I'm pretty jaded by the medical system and the way that people are eating, and you go into the grocery store and I'm like, what the heck is up with this food? They're trying to poison us.
So I think it's not food. It's literally a product.
Exactly. Yeah. So it really fuels me to be for myself. Like I ended up having less yeast infections, less menstrual cycle cramps, having clear skin, having less mood swings, losing weight, feeling more confident in my skin, having better sleep. I had so many things happen as a result of changing my food and my lifestyle that if I could give that to more people, oh my goodness, it's like a dream come true. And so I think part of it was, yes, I had to make some money. But again, my expectations as a young person was pretty stinking low. Yeah. I was like, if I could make $1,000 a month, I will just make it work. Like I will live in a super small apartment, studio, or whatever I got to do in order to, just get by. I guess I wasn't anticipating like, oh, one day I'm going to make $1 million. So I think it was just a gradual, I need to kind of help out over here, but it wasn't any sense of urgency because by the time my husband would have graduated school, he would hopefully have been making the money. So it was kind of a balance of like me wanting to just continue on because I'm having fun and I want to help people. Year 2 would have been when the light bulb clicked and I'm like, oh, I can make money here. Cause it was like, I made $6,000 by myself the first year. And the next year we made $60,000. And I was like, we just 10x our income. Yeah. Which is still for 2 people to make 60 grand. It's like, I might as well have worked at McDonald's at that point. But, it's obviously we could see at that point, this is scalable and this can grow and become something so much more than we ever dreamed of.
Yeah. Which is incredible. Year 1, $6,000. You were doing it on your own. At the end of year 1, is that when you told your husband either, I'm going to hire people, or do you want to come work for me? So then year 2, even it's still something to note because it still seems like I 10X, but like you said, it's still not a lot of money, right? Yeah. Like 60,000 still isn't a lot of money. So then what kept you guys both going to say, because your husband could be like, well, do you know what? I could make more as a chiropractor, So like both of you obviously saw the potential and the opportunity to keep going.
Yes. And I think it's just because of that year where I had the first brand reach out and say, hey, we'll give you $1,000 to talk about us for 60 seconds. I was like, $1,000? I was going to make the video for free. And so to then and then they come around again. We'll do it again. Actually, we'll do it for 3 times in the month. Actually, we'll sign a contract for 6 months. That's when we started. And then another brand reaches out. And so then at that point, we realized, whoa, I thought people made money from the monetization, which is pennies.
Yeah, the AdSense is not. Yeah.
And then the affiliate links, I thought, oh, that's how you like through affiliate sales. But even that was like $100 or something for a month's work of telling people to, hey, check this out.
Yeah.
And again, when we offer a product, we're doing it because we genuinely think it's going to help people in their life in some capacity. Having more protein in your life, having a protein powder, getting better sleep, having a mattress. And so just finding things that were actually valuable that we found in our lives that made a difference. And then for people, I think that they can see that it's genuine, and therefore, in a way, they're getting something out of it, a helpful product and more health. And then we're also being compensated for helping find the connection for them.
Yeah. So year 2, $60,000. And then how many subscribers were you roughly around at that part? Do you remember? That would have been what, 2020?
Yeah.
23?
Yeah, probably 40 at the end of the year.
40,000?
Yeah, maybe starting at like 10.
Yeah. So you're at like 500,000 now. So what happened between, that year 2 to now?
Yeah, things just snowballed like crazy. And every year just kept doubling and doubling and doubling. And we're like, what is going on? But I know that, like I said, with the older videos, privating some of them, because I feel like I was really young when I started YouTube. I still am younger, and just trying to find the balance of people my age don't care about being healthy at this point. They haven't got to the point where they need to care as much. And so I was doing a lot of communication as a young person to a young person when the people who are watching are 50, 60, 70 years old. And so having to just like slow down when I speak, realize who I'm talking to, and how can I serve that person who has the type 2 diabetes and insulin resistance and a lot of weight gain, and being more empathetic too. That's definitely one of the struggles I think I've had since a young person. I went through some tough times, and I always think, oh, people need to stop making excuses for their life. And so just remembering like, no, like people have different ways of looking at the world and different perspectives. And so, I think the more I've been able to reflect on my mistakes and my failures in the beginning has helped me grow so much faster. And also I used to put like girly music. My husband's like, you have half your audience as male. And so just finding the balance of who I'm communicating to has allowed us to just scale so much faster.
That is an important point, because I always say, when I'm working with people, one of the best things you can do is really, really, really understand who you're speaking to. Because if you can anticipate what they want and give them what they want without them even knowing that's what they want, those are the people that are really successful. And for you, that's interesting. It almost seemed like you realized that over time, and then you made the appropriate adjustments. When you look at your analytics, what does that look like as far as who your audience was? Like, what made you realize that was happening?
I think part of it actually was also talking to different creators in my space and like becoming friends with some of the people who are in similar niches, and then them saying like, well, this is what I'm doing, or this is what works for me, in order to serve more people. And so even though it was always staring in my face and seeing 60, 70-year-olds, because I'm not 60 and 70, I still am like, but I want to have fun when I'm 60 and 70. And a lot of them do. If they're subscribed to Lillie, they're a little bit silly. But finding the balance still. So yeah, it was just, I think, hearing it from other people, and then always hindsight's 2020. When I go back and look at these videos, I'm like, no wonder why we were like in a rut and not growing as quickly as we could have.
Because you were not talking to the people that actually were watching you.
Exactly.
So I find your journey really interesting, Lillie, because it's like, and you seem to like really do, like, would you say that where you're at now with the niche that you have and the audience, would you say that is where you want to be right now? Like who you want to be talking to and like the content you want to be creating?
Long term, like 10 years from now?
Well, even right now, even today.
Today, absolutely. I definitely want to keep helping people with their health. I mean, my goal is that in 10 years from now, everybody knows about seed oils and ultra processed foods and fast food. But I will say sometimes it gets a little bit repetitive, like telling people have more protein, but always remembering that it's somebody's first time hearing this. And so I could be helping somebody today, right now, or just, I try to be a little bit goofy and dance in the grocery store with the Oreos. Don't eat these, eat the steak instead. So just making health cool again. And so yes, in this moment now, definitely interested in continuing talking about health and nutrition. And ideally, in a perfect world, it would evolve more where I could talk more about stress management and slowing down and being more present and mindset and perspective, because those were things where for me, I do all of the healthy things. I eat good and I exercise and I sleep. But if I have stresses in my life or
cancel it all out. Yeah.
Exactly. And so it's not the sexiest topic, I'll say. Like anytime I try to talk about stress management or working on your mindset or reading certain books, people are like, tell me to eat another egg.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I would love to get to the point where eventually, and what I've been doing is kind of weaving, where it's
Mhm.
like, I
Yeah.
mention it for a sentence, give them a little teaser, but I can't make the whole video about finding more peace and joy and love at this time. And ultimately, the goal will be to be able to speak on different aspects of
Broad.
lifestyle and having a joyful life.
Yeah, which, like you said, if you don't feel good, it's hard to have a joyful life and be happy. And one of the easiest ways and most I think results driven ways to do that is to look at what you're eating and how that impacts you. Your journey is so interesting because you started out YouTube. It's not like you were a nutritionist or anything like that. Saying, well, I'm going to go onto YouTube and talk about food nutrition, right? To these people. It's like you got onto YouTube very organically of like, I want to make people happy. Let me just play around with what that is. And then you had this video go viral. And like what I have found is that it's like you're either lucky or unlucky with that. Like you're lucky. And I think in your case, I mean, obviously, everybody has a little bit of luck in life, right? Depends on what it is. But in your case, it was lucky in that it seemed like it was a topic that you were genuinely interested in and you were okay writing your entire YouTube channel around it. What happens sometimes is that people are kind of in that experimental phase trying to figure out what their channel's about. Something goes viral and then they realize a year later, I do not want to talk about this. I don't want to talk to these people. And then they're looking to have to pivot and because I get those people. Like I'm almost like the YouTube fixer, right? I get people all the time that are in the wrong niche or they grew and it was all this. So for you, I think it's incredible because it sounds as if you are happy with where YouTube kind of took you, even though you were not necessarily leading it in that direction. It worked out for you.
Yes. And the other thing too, I would love to talk about finances and how
Mhm.
to save and all these things, because I think, again, you can eat the perfect diet, but be under, I think, a lot of stress because of finances. I think that's like, it creates divorce. And, you might be more irritable towards your kids or not give them as much opportunity. And so I would love to be able to tell people, like, again, I had good money from working at Baskin Robbins.
Yeah.
So just like teaching people how to save and how to make their priorities. I do a lot of traveling and I've been fortunate to go, and I traveled to 10 different countries when I made $3,000. So it's like I went and
You do
did
a whole
the,
YouTube channel about that, like a whole separate channel about that, like
yeah,
saving.
exactly. And I think that is something that is a lot of people would find more health if they realize, like, I don't need the 15th purse and the 30th pair of shoes. I have so much abundance and so many good things in my life. So
Yeah. It's like you have a lot that you could talk about, but it seems like you're content doing this. Cause I find that a lot of people, they just lose that spark to create and they want to do something else. But it seems like you're happy doing this and being in this niche.
yeah, definitely.
I mean, that's amazing. And so then you mentioned coaching. What are the different ways that you're monetizing your YouTube channel?
So the biggest way that we make money is from our sponsors.
Okay.
And in a perfect world, and me and another creator may be collaborating to make a food product that we think would be high
Amazing.
quality and all the things that work with both of our audiences. But the main source of income for us is our sponsors. After that, I'd say it would be Google AdSense, and then it would be my coaching, and then it would be like affiliates. The coaching could be a lot more successful if I really wanted it to be, but honestly, I don't even talk about it in my YouTube videos at this point. It's just a lot of time.
Mhm.
And so for me to do one-on-one, it is really helpful because I get a lot of ideas from people and hearing like where are your pain points and struggles and what's not working. And then I can make YouTube videos that serve more people. But I try to keep it on the hush and hush with the coaching. If you really are desperate and you really want to talk to me, then there's a link you can find. But other than that, it's actually something I'm trying to get out of, especially with maybe the possibility of babies being on the horizon eventually. And then that's really not going to be worth the time with so many emails and all the things that go on with one-on-one coaching.
Yeah. What do you charge for the coaching?
I think it's $200 an hour. Honestly, my
Okay.
husband's in charge of the rates, but I think that's what
Okay.
it is.
Okay. And you just have people that just ongoing just kind of work with you or meet with you like for coaching. I do think that I'm a believer in coaching as like a creator, content creator, because it is an amazing way to really understand who your audience is. So it's like kind of like what you're doing. You're like, it's not a main thing, but you see value in it because you are able to really help people and gain a lot of knowledge and experience from that you could bring to your videos.
Definitely.
And so for your brand deals, you said that's number one. How many brands are you working with like in one period of time?
I probably have 10 this year, but we have like 5 who are very much staples, who are every single month, every year for years, who are very consistent. So that's where it feels reassuring. I will say, like, in the beginning, you don't know, are they just going to come and ask me for one video one time and I'm never going to hear from them ever again? And next month I have to pay my rent?
Yeah.
And so that's especially why, like, we paid off our house so quickly, is just because we wanted to make sure that in the event, if anything were to happen and we became demonetized or YouTube algorithm changed or our sponsors didn't reach out again, like, we weren't having to have the pressure. And I think that's what allows us to create more freely and feel like I'm doing this because I want to do this, or I'm accepting a video because I want to, not because I have to. And there's a lot less pressure, because originally, like, when we had our house, we had to pay, every single month. We're like, I hope these brands come through. And that's another reason why we want to create our own product ourselves, because then we can talk about it as much as we want to talk about it in whatever way we want to talk about it, however authentically we want to do it, without having to rely on somebody else who may or may not come back around.
Yeah. Are you able to speak on like what that product is or what you're planning for that?
I would love to do a protein powder. I would love to do a vitamin D, a magnesium, just things that I personally take every single day, and I think that most people would benefit from. So those would be some of the ideas, and the other ones are secret.
Okay. We'll just have
but food products that make life more convenient for people.
Yeah. It's funny. I'm like drinking my collagen powder that my sister, she's in like the fitness niche, and her husband, kind of like you, they work together on their brand, and then they have a line of protein powder and collagen powder. And yeah, it's great. Having your own product, it's a whole nother world, but you have this amazing audience that you can market it to.
Definitely. My John, he has a manufacturing company. He manufactures sunscreens, lotions, shampoos for people like Burt's Bees, Bath and Body Works. So he is like the manufacturer and then ships it out. And so I've always been like, why don't we do a sunscreen but sometimes I'm just nervous about working with family. Even though he's like wonderful, I'm like, I don't want you to feel like you have to give me a discount or anything like that, or make it more of a headache on their end. So
but I was like, that would make sense too. But a lot of thought goes into it. Maybe once you do your one product, maybe you're like, well, maybe you kind of get the bug because, and you're like, oh, I kind of want to do another product now, or this product. And you kind of already know the ropes and all that. So.
And I think similarly, like with YouTube, when you first start off and like you get into your flow, right now we have so much business from other brands reaching out, being like, hey, we'll give you straight up money right now. That's like way easier for me versus having to be like, okay, how do I create a brand and how do I create the business? How does the shipping go? I don't want to deal with customer service and someone saying I need a refund. Like working all of that ends up taking so much time, right? And so it's just been pretty easy to just say yes to the next brand. But eventually here I'm going to say, you know what? I need to just say no to you guys, which can be hard in order to long-term see something.
Exactly. It's a very long-term goal. But at one point you might, like you said, you might consider doing it, because that is, especially for a lot of YouTube creators, that is kind of that next step, is to create some kind of product or something of your own that can live maybe beyond you and your personal branding on YouTube. So for your brand deals, what is your rate that you charge them?
So it depends on each brand. Sometimes it's a flat fee plus a percentage, like, I think one right now it's $4,000 plus 25% commission, whereas someone else it's $5,000 plus 15% commission. So I try to do the commission base on top of it, because I do have some that are just flat fee. So I'd say the range is between like $4,000 to $5,500. No, let's say $4,500, because I don't have anyone flat fee who is $4,000 without commission. So it's $4,500 to $5,500 probably if I was doing flat fee. And that's been as of lately, and things change so quickly that it's probably more, because we're booked out all the way through the year. Wow. So it's like, if you want to book, it's like, come to December, then we can talk. So it'll be higher. But I like the commission part of it, because then I can see for myself, how many sales am I actually driving to you? What are you actually getting out of this? Because so many times I was like charging a fee and it took forever to figure out like, what is the right fee? Someone said $1,000. Okay, I'll do it for $1,000.
Yeah.
And then they came around again. We'll do it again for $1,000. I'm like, what about $1,500? They're like, yes. I'm like, dang it, next time I
Yes.
need to say 2.
Yes.
And so just working
And
up
you're
and
still
seeing where,
growing. Like you're growing at the same time, you know?
yep,
So it's like,
exactly, more
mhm.
views, more subs, all those things, yeah.
And the thing is like, I think audiences on YouTube seem to like more understand now that like that is the best way, I think, for a lot of creators like yourself, especially that have large followings, for them to be able to make money so that they can continue creating this content in like a creative way. Because what you said, and I thought it was very interesting, is you're like, having these brand deals and having them long term has allowed us to have some creativity and some freedom in that. Otherwise, there's this like sense of desperation in a way that it's like, oh my God, like, how am I going to make money? How am I going to make money? But when you have these like long term deals, it's like it gives you a little bit of that relief so that you can create better content. And then I think I would hope, I think though, I'm seeing that audiences are more understanding like that, because especially the way that the creator often phrases it, it's like, let's thank our sponsors, because without the sponsors, I wouldn't be able to create this type of content for you, because you have to live, you have to support yourself, you have to pay your team, you have to, pay for the equipment and all that. It's not, long form YouTube content is not super cheap to create, especially good kind. So,
Well, and especially like you being a mom of 3, like it
mhm.
gets expensive once you have kids. So we're just really trying to make sure that everything's going to be okay for that to happen. And especially me being the face of the channel, like right now we're really going hard and grinding it out in the event that I only post 2 times in a month.
Mhm.
So then what happens? Like our income's going to be very like 80% of what
Gonna
it
be
is
impacted.
today, or
Yeah.
so much less. That we're trying to go hard now so we can simmer down probably later if we have to.
Yeah. And that's a great way to do it. And then same thing with this idea of starting a product. It's like, okay, maybe you start it now so that by that point you have another revenue stream. But because you're right, because with the brand deals, like you gotta show up. I mean, I have clients, I know that like around Black Friday and stuff, I remember this one client and she was like, if it means I have to upload every single day because I have that many brand deals, like I'm going to do it. And she did. She would be uploading like 4 or 5 days a week. Cause she's like, the brand deals were coming in. I'm not saying no. So it's like, well, her kids were grown. So she had the ability and the time to do it. But it's like, I think there's this sense from a lot of YouTube creators that like, I got to take what's coming now because I never know. I mean, I have another client that makes millions a year and she's like, I feel like I can't slow down because I just never know when this train is going to stop.
And it's definitely like a hard line because I think I worked every single day, 365 days for years, filmed my wedding, filmed my like honeymoon, getting engaged, filming every single thing, working on Christmas, on my birthdays, on my honeymoon, like always was doing something for the channel. And to think about taking a day off, I would say, oh, I'll take a day off once I XYZ thing. Like there's always a to-do list, respond to more comments, do more emails, send more newsletters, make more TikToks, do another Instagram post, all those things. And so it was like a never ending. And to say like, I have to take one day off a week because it's going to be beneficial.
Yes.
We've really tried to stick to it this year and we've been doing pretty well with it.
Okay.
And we've even been stopping working at 8 o'clock at night instead of like 9:30. And so we've been trying to make more boundaries, especially because like I had mentioned, or I guess I said this off camera, my husband is 9 years older than me. So when he was in his 20s, he was like, oh yeah, let's go Energizer Bunny. But now he's 39 and he's like, listen, I don't need to hustle and grind. I want to have like a moment to just chill and not be working, and having to set the boundaries of like, after, we take a shower, you're not allowed to talk about work anymore, and just having that dynamic, especially with a spouse. But on top of that, like you mentioned, another brand deal is going to reach out. And we've just turned down we turned down 40 grand and for a couple deals just because I want to have balance and I don't need another 40 grand in order to be happy or have the life I want to live. And honestly too, because I know you work a lot as well, we don't like go out and do a lot of stuff most days because we're working. And so you make all this money for what? Putting it in your bank? Again, I'm the squirrel who saves like crazy, but to what? Die one day with a bunch of money in the bank? Like,
yeah. You want to live life too and enjoy the hard work that you put in. I'm a big believer in like work hard, play hard. Like I've always lived that motto like my whole life. So if I don't have like a vacation or a weekend with my girlfriends or something on the calendar, I'm like, I got to get it. I got to get it. I've got to get it on my calendar. That's for me. That's like, I like to have that stuff to look forward to. Tell me about what it's like working with your husband and also like just what your overall business structure looks like. Meaning like, do you have other people on your team? Is it just you and him? Does he handle certain things? Like, Yeah, what does he handle versus what you handle? Let's talk about that.
I think because we originally met working together and we worked really well at Enterprise together. And then during the pandemic, we started a bookkeeping business together. And then now we're doing YouTube together. So I think we've always just had like good chemistry and like communication. And so it was definitely rough in the beginning. There's some bumps. And especially with YouTube, it's such a creative thing that I would make a thumbnail and be like, the words should be blue. And he's like, no, the words should be yellow. And it's just super, there's no right or wrong at that point. And so it's like, well, who gets to make the last call? But at this point, things are super smooth and easy going for us, and how our kind of schedule is. I will do the scripting, obviously the filming, and then he does all of the editing for long form videos and for all the short form videos. So we've been doing about 7 YouTube videos a month and 8 short form videos a month. And so he does all of the editing. I will make the thumbnail, and then usually he just like brightens it or does like a little extra thing if he thinks that the color isn't standing out as much. So he kind of gives the final approval with the thumbnails. But otherwise, I am all the coaching, the emails, the comments, he does upload the videos, but I still do all the tags and all the SEO and all of the behind the scenes with that. We have never hired a thumbnail designer or another editor. We do have also a Coach Lillie AI service where people can download an app and get texting service with my essential clone Lillie AI version. So that's a whole separate team, and they've created it, and they do all the refunds and all of that.
Okay.
And it wasn't even like that I pay them to do it. It's more that they give me the leftovers and they handle everything, which is fine because I wouldn't even have a clue about how that works. And it's good because, especially with my one-on-one coaching, I realized one of the main things people need is daily check-ins and daily assistance, which I absolutely, unfortunately, cannot give. So for people to be able to download the app, that is a whole separate team. But we really don't even, I talk to them maybe twice a year and we just check in how are things going. Cool. So that's kind of on its own. So it's mainly, yes, just my husband and I.
And that's a product that you're selling that's separate?
Yeah, it's because they have to pay for the software. They have to pay themselves. It's like pennies. I don't even really count it in our income.
Okay. So it's just like are you selling it directly to people?
Not really.
No. Okay.
It's like on my website if people check it out. But again, we had started it with the idea thinking, oh, this will be replacing the sponsors. I'll just mention this every time.
Yes.
But because it's not, you can only charge so much with somebody to have this kind of service when they can go on ChatGPT or they can watch another YouTube video, that it isn't, converting as much as I would like, in comparison to me just saying yes to another sponsor. And I'd rather spend the time talking about the sponsor for guaranteed income in comparison to try to convert like 50,000 people in one video to make the same amount of money.
Yes, I get it. It's like you got to figure out what is a lot easier. Like this is easier right now, especially like it's not, for a lot of people, it's not necessarily that easy to get that many brand deals. And so for you, if that's what's working, it's like go all in, like go all into that. Is your husband the one managing the brand deals?
No, I do all the emails and everything. Yeah.
Well, you say emails, that's what you meant. Okay, the brand deals and all that. Okay.
Or coaching emails or so I think we might shift to him doing it, just because, again, I have another creator friend who we've been talking a lot, and she's been saying how her husband has been doing the brand deals because she's like, Lillie, like, not only are we younger, we're women, and it's sometimes different when there's that buffer, but also a male. And so we're thinking maybe we will shift to having the brands talk with him, and he'll at first he wanted to just say yes to whatever the brand's offering. And then I started being the one who's like, nah, I think they're getting more out of this than we're getting. This is the price we're charging now.
So you're tougher.
But I think now he's been tougher, so he can have it.
Well, that's the thing is I've worked with a lot of people and there's definitely a group of people that it's like their spouse, or I've even worked with people like their significant other, or boyfriend or someone is the one they're working with, right? And almost every time, usually they hand off that responsibility to the spouse, the husband, for the reasons that you mentioned. So, but it depends. Maybe you are better at it than him, or maybe you don't know yet if he hasn't tried it. But usually, I find that the creator, that's one of the first things they want to offload is like dealing with the brands. We're doing it.
Yeah, originally, I think because I was doing it originally, and he didn't know like the relationship that I had with them at that point. Now I feel like it's okay, it's fine. He can take over it, but I think initially I was already doing it, and he was like, "I'm not gonna pretend I'm you and send the email as if I'm you." And I'm like, "No, I don't think that's how it works. I think we're gonna
No,
have you pretend you're
you're like,
you,
I'm the
or
one that manages all of her deals. Yeah.
yeah,
I'm surprised with somebody like yourself that has so many brand deals that you don't have a manager. Because most people at your size with that many brand deals has a manager. Was that intentional? Like, have you like intentionally said no to managers and said, I want to do it myself?
yes, we did like for 2 months have somebody who said they were going to manage it, but then they didn't bring us any new deals, and we already had our own deals, and it was just like not really working as well. But the main thing as well is my husband was a manager for like 15 years, and he already knew what it was like to have people call off and be sick or quit or have to retrain and all of those things. And he said it's just like a whole nother level of stress,
Hmm.
especially if you don't find the right person. Of course, I'm
Hmm.
sure you can find someone who's awesome and make it where your life's even better. But our life is so good, we have no complaints, that we'd rather just keep things the two of us. So that way we just earn what we want to earn, go at whatever pace we want to go at, and not have responsibility for somebody else.
Yeah. And then you have to give away 20 to 30% of that, to a manager. So it's like, it's nice that you get to keep all of it.
Yeah.
That's nice. Okay. So couple questions, like specific questions, like about the YouTube. So what do you think took the longest to figure out about growing your YouTube channel?
How to communicate.
Mm. What do you mean by that?
I think that I like the pacing, like, okay, do you start off like super fast? Because I felt like I needed to capture people's attention. And the only way to do that is like tell them everything right in the beginning and as quickly as possible. And that's really not how it has to be. You can speak slowly. You can just have a good pace. And I would think I was nervous because I'd heard stats like people's attention span only lasts 11 seconds or something nowadays, 12 seconds. And so every 12 seconds, you have to rehook and keep them entertained. And that's why I felt like I had to bounce off the walls. And I think that that's what hurt me, because I was trying so hard to make sure you stayed instead of just like talking like a normal person, providing value. And so I think my biggest struggle was finding my rhythm of like still being myself, but also being 60, and just like
Yeah.
finding the right flow, because I'm like an onion, right? I can be sad, I can be happy, I can be jealous, I can be, I can be so many different layers. And so, like, what's the version to show? And I'm sure other people feel that way too, where I wanted to make sure I'm smiling because I'm a happy person, but not smiling too much where it becomes fake. And I would forget to blink, but don't blink too many times. And so, just finding like, how do I be on camera?
What do you think you had to happen for that to improve for you?
Practice.
Hmm. Just doing it and repetition again and again and again.
Yep.
Feedback and repetition.
Yep. I had read some of the negative comments in the beginning when I first started with YouTube, and it wasn't even like, oh, you're ugly. It was more just actually about my food, because it's like you're not supposed to talk about politics, your money, and your diet.
Yeah.
And so people would say things like, "You're an animal killer. I can't believe you ate an egg," or things like that.
Yeah.
And so I would get defensive, like, "No, you don't understand. Like, they're super nutritious," and like try to justify it and feel bad. And somebody told me, like, "Don't read the comments." And I was like,
Yeah.
"What? What do you mean don't read the comments? How do I know if people like the video or not?" You can figure it out by seeing the views and all of those things. And I felt like that's another thing I learned, is just I can filter my eyes now where I can just only read the positive comments. I haven't read a negative comment in forever. However, about a couple months ago, I did read one on somebody else's page. I was watching someone else's YouTube video, and I was the most liked comments, and I read, and it wasn't positive. But while it hurt to kind of read it and feel like I'm creeping in on somebody else's like it's like talk, I used it to be like, they're right though. I was kind of over the top or kind of too goofy, or I was able to look at it and just say like, how can I get better?
Hmm.
And so I think, like you said, practice helps, but then taking the harsh criticism and not taking it to your ego and going like, they just don't understand me. No, you're clearly not communicating well. And if someone's just being straight up rude, you don't have to accept that criticism. But if people are saying things and you're able to listen, then I think it'll help you grow.
I agree. I think it's hard. I think there's a very fine line. I think some people it really impacts them, the comments. And unfortunately, that then gets carried over to the next video and the next video. It stays with people and it can be really detrimental. I think a really great place to be is where you're at, where you're able to see that negativity. Because sometimes there are some kernels of truth, especially if you get the same kind of comment again and again. Do you want some nasty person to take off with your comment section and like, you know, have a bunch of people having a field day? No, like I always say, it's your house. You can control it. If you want to delete them, you can delete them. But I do think if you can come from a place of knowing like, okay, that is interesting. That's constructive. And at the same time, looking at the overall context, like for most people, 90 something percent of the comments are positive, but we have this negativity bias where we focus on that one or two negative Nancy's and it derails our entire day.
Totally.
So yeah, I love that you share that. And so at one point, pretty recently, maybe the last couple of years, you also had like an additional channel pivot where you were a hardcore carnivore. And that's kind of where you came out with that, what I eat in a day, right? It was a carnivore and I think it was like the perfect storm. Like everyone's just kind of like exploring carnivore, like right around that time. You were young. It was just, it worked. But then several years into that journey, you yourself has decided no longer to be carnivore, right?
So what really happened is I have never been on a diet, which sounds strange to people because I wasn't ever trying to be carnivore. I was just eating meat and eggs and living my life. And then if I wanted some yogurt and blueberries, I would do it. But when I had posted that first What I Eat in a Day video, I, again, didn't even hear the word carnivore, didn't even know about it. And when I showed my husband, said, I'm going to post this video of like what I eat in a day, I had called it keto because that's what I thought, you know, like, well, I know it's, and he goes, technically you're eating carnivore. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I titled it carnivore in the title. And then after that, then people kind of put me in this niche where they're like, you are this. And I'm like, no. Like I have no problem putting seasonings or making vegetables or anything like that. I just am a minimalist and I like to not have to worry about making broccoli. And I felt like for a period of time, I was trying to like cater to some like people who wanted me to be more, because I eat a lot of meat. So it's like, I'm not like pretending to be carnivore. I actually like ate a lot of meat, but I had said like pretty early on, like in the first couple of months where I could see people were funneling me into that niche, I made a video. I'm like, I am not carnivore. Here are 10 reasons why I'm not carnivore. Because I'm Lillie. Other people, they are this. I am vegan. I am this. I am not. I am healthy and I want to do whatever that means. And I know that things change and seasons evolve. And so I did get kind of stuck in that niche, I felt like, because I do eat very carnivore-y. But I've realized that, especially like from a helpful standpoint, my family would love to lose weight and feel better, but they will never watch a carnivore video. And so if I can approach them in a way where I'm like, you eat this peanut butter? Here, this is a better quality peanut butter. I don't eat peanut butter, but that doesn't matter. If I did, it'd be this one. And so just being able to like help people, because my own family is who I also would get a lot of ideas from. And if they're not watching my videos, how can I help the average Joe who's not going to go so extreme?
Yes. And so did you not ever really use the phrase carnivore in your titles and thumbnails and the packaging of your videos?
I did initially because that's what I was eating. But then when I had like a blueberry and people were like, you're not allowed to eat blueberries if you're carnivore. Then I was like, you know what? Forget it. I don't really want to like be part of this. So I'm just going to say, here's how to eat healthy.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing with YouTube is that it very much likes to categorize people, right? Like that's a big thing. And it's like for you, you're like, initially I said carnivore because I want to put a label to what I was doing. But then I realized like, wait, this isn't me. But then at that point, though, YouTube is associated with you with carnivore. I could assume that at that time, and maybe for a period of time after that, when you look at the other channels your viewers are watching, they were probably all carnivore channels. Because that's how YouTube operates. So how did you get yourself away from that niche specifically?
It's strange because it's been years and I still will get comments in the comment section when I eat something. And they say, you're not allowed to eat an orange, Lillie. And I'm like, I'm good. But I think that was another reason why I kind of stopped reading the comments, because I felt like I couldn't communicate it enough. Like I felt like I explained it so many times in so many ways. And people, I do think, hear what they want to hear often. And so, especially like when I look back on my videos and it's you see meat and meat and meat, and then you go, you're carnivore. And I'm like, no, I'm not. It's like an alcoholic who's drinking alcohol and you're like, you're an alcoholic. And they're like, no, I'm not. So it's like, I can see how it can be confusing for the viewer. And so sometimes I try just not to show what I eat anymore as much as I'm trying to show like what you should be eating. Or like I've been showing how to make a pizza that's healthy. I don't call it carnivore, but if you look at the ingredients, it's pretty stinking carnivore.
Yeah.
Or I show you how to make an ice cream. It's carnivore, but I don't label it that way because I want to reach people who just want to be healthy.
Yeah.
And it might seem, so it's been very, very gradual where it's just slowly finding how can I still appease the audience I originally had, but also gain a new one. And so instead of saying carnivore, saying high protein. That's applying to my carnivore friends, but it's applying to some new people too. So it's just trying to find the bridge that will like help both people. And then eventually being like, okay, at this point, now so much of my audience is the non-carnivores that I don't have to worry as much about like reaching that carnivore.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I love how you have an awareness of what your deeper why and mission is with your channel. And that's one thing that I work on with people, because if you notice just throughout this conversation, you've mentioned multiple times that you really genuinely want to help people. Right. And so I love like the strategy around, well, you have to make like carnivore is not something that is adopted or really appeals to the masses. And if your goal really is to help as many people as possible, like you said, that kind of goes against it. So your decisions, it seems as if you've always been guided by this idea of wanting to help people and make them happy, because it seems like a lot of your decisions are based upon that and looking at that.
100%.
And I think that.
And my family.
What do you mean by your family?
My family would say like, Lillie, I want to lose weight. And they know I do one-on-one health coaching. And I'm like, okay, great. Well, like watch my videos. And they're like, I don't want to watch your videos because I'm not going to be carnivore.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. You need me to show you how to have your salad, but make sure you have enough protein on your plate so you're still reaching your goals of like maintaining muscle mass.
Yeah.
And so my family was really helpful and just asked every time I would talk to them, they'd say something like, oh, I just couldn't help it. I had to get popcorn and a soda at the movies. Great. Let me tell you how to not do that. And so it is actually just by talking to people to get feedback without them giving me feedback.
Do you ever have imposter syndrome? Because I hear this from a lot of people where, especially even in a situation like this random video went viral and now people are asking me questions and like, I wasn't educated in this. This isn't my field. But have you ever felt that at all moving through this niche?
Definitely in the beginning. And especially I'd have to lean on my husband a lot. Like, wait, what's up with this or why? But I've done this for so many years. At this point, it's kind of like I do it every single day, day in and day out, that I think that maybe people would feel more imposter syndrome in the beginning stages, but after they've been doing it for so many years. And I've also been blessed to work with hundreds of people one-on-one as well to see. I've worked with people who are blind. I've worked with people who can't walk. I've worked with people. So I have so many experiences that I have so much confidence in what I'm saying now and what I'm doing because I've actually seen results. That was a mistake. That helped somebody. And so when you have repeated results, it makes it easier to have more confidence or even the confidence of not knowing a certain answer as well.
But did you feel it at the beginning though, when people initially were asking you for coaching? And then how did you overcome that at the time? Because I can imagine now, you're a kick-ass in this niche, right? You've been doing it. We could see like you're very much experienced, but it's always that beginning part where it's hard for people to get to the point where you're at, because it's like, they'll be like, oh, I don't know if I can do coaching. Or like, I'm even working with a couple people now. They're like, well, I just feel like I don't know if I can even do coaching. I have people reaching out to me. So how do you get over that imposter syndrome? Like, how did that happen for you?
I guess one of the things working at Enterprise Rent-A-Car that they teach you in the beginning is that you don't have to have all the answers. You just need to know who has the answer, who to reach out to, how to find it. And so in the beginning, like when I did a one-on-one coaching call, 5 years ago, I was like, what if I don't know the answer to the question? But I always remembered that no matter what, I can just be honest and say, hey, I don't know the answer to the question, but this is what I would do if I was in your situation. This is how I would think about it. Because for the most part, I think, especially when you're an outside person, let's say, maybe you don't know how to run my channel, but you would be able to look at it and go, well, to me, it's a lot of yellow. Like, I like pink or whatever. So I think we all have our own perspective on things. And so similarly, when someone comes to me in the beginning with like, I want to lose weight, and I'm just having to listen, I'm like, but why aren't they losing weight? And I'm like, well, you're telling me you're drinking soda. So that's probably where I'd start, even though you have all these other things. So just putting myself in their shoes and then knowing I can be candid and say, I don't know the answer to that. When we get off this call, though, I'm going to spend some time like doing research, reading a book, calling a family member, like you probably have someone in your life who will have a better answer, or at least you can say, hey, I don't know, but you should go on ChatGPT, or you should ask this certain way. So I think just knowing that you don't have to have all the answers, but you can guide them in a way that will help them find an answer.
Yeah. More so than they can do it on their own.
Yep.
Speaking of ChatGPT, how has AI changed maybe your processes or anything at all about your channel or your business?
Change my flippin' life.
Tell me
It has
about it.
been so helpful,
Okay.
especially with emails. Like in particular, like I can't respond to every comment, but I do try to respond to every email. And sometimes it's not an email from a brand or from a coaching client. It's just a random person who wants to say, hey, I just want to say thank you for the videos. Or I send a newsletter out every Saturday and people will respond back to the newsletter. This was amazing and great. And I really do try to take the extra time to just say, thanks. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Hope you have a wonderful week. And now, like with AI, it takes like 2 seconds to be able to shoot some of those down. And then making thumbnails in particular too, rather than me having to pose in certain positions with food props and have to buy the giant steak. Instead, AI being able to generate anything imaginable and I don't have to pose every time. It can just take my shot of me like this and make me like this and make me like do all sorts of different things, which saves a lot of time in that area. So specifically with thumbnail creation, it has made my thumbnails so much better. It has made my life so much easier and sped up a lot of processes. And even like when it comes to video idea and script writing, I can like upload all of the past scripts and videos that were successful and say, here, this got 1 million, this got 500K. What else would my audience like from here? Or, my tone of style and how I speak, help me with this next script. And so, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah. So what are you using specifically? Like, what are you using for your thumbnails? Is it ChatGPT or Nano Banana? What are you using?
It kind of just rotates through. Every day I have 4 of them pulled up: ChatGPT, Claude, Grok, and Gemini.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's like they evolve so quickly. So maybe one week Nano Banana is doing great with the thumbnails, and then the next week it's Chat, and then the next week it's Grok. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys are crazy. I call them my besties. And so I'll make them argue with each other too. I'm like, no, come on. I need this title to work better. What do you think? And so Claude's really great at writing my scripts. With Grok, I recently learned if someone's talking, like let's say with this video right here, if I'm talking, you can take a screenshot of me blurry and not great quality, upload it into Grok, and it'll make a perfect pose of me, crystal clear, 4K, high quality. And so, yeah, I make them duke it out with thumbnails too. I'll make Gemini and Chat and Grok. I make them all make me thumbnails, and then I say, no, yours is weak. I'm going this route. And then I just keep messing with it again and again and again.
Yeah. So then for each of them, do you have like a trained kind of chat or project in there for each of them for your thumbnails?
Well, first, before I do anything with let's say it's a fresh new day and I'm just thinking of new ideas, sometimes I'll need help with the ideas with them saying, okay, these videos perform well. What ideas do you guys think would do well with my audience now? Or one-on-one coaching, I get a lot of ideas. My family gives me a lot of ideas. Or just sometimes when I'm falling asleep at night, something will just like come to me. And so when I have the idea, then I have to know like what's the thumbnail and the title before I even write a single word, because the first thing that comes out of my mouth, I want to kind of mirror what someone's clicking on. And so if I have them generate a thumbnail before I even script it, I'll be like, would I click on this? Is this looking good to me? Like I made a cheesy bread recipe and I had the whole thumbnail done beforehand because I wasn't sure if it was going to look good enough on like a cell phone screen in order to get someone to click on it and know what it was. And then once I saw the image and I was like, chef's kiss, let's do it. So then I had them write me like, what is the recipe and how do I talk about this?
This one here, this cheesy bread?
Yep.
Yeah. So these are all done with
AI.
Like the AI.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you get great views. I mean, it's working.
Yeah.
So like all of these. Yeah. So then you go back and forth with the different AIs and then you just say, okay, let's do it. So how long does it take you on average to put together one thumbnail with that whole process?
Depends on the day.
Okay.
It could take like today's thumbnail, the video I posted today. I did it this morning before it went live and I knew exactly what it was going to be. So I just took me 10 minutes, but other ones take me like this, I try to save all of them. What I mean by that is get them all to 100K. So like this one with the doctor, wrong. I just changed that today because it's not doing what I want it to do. So
this one right here, your doctor says your vitamin D is normal.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I just keep A/B testing and making thumbnail and thumbnail. So that one I've probably spent like days on at this point because I just keep messing with it until I see it picking up.
Yeah, very cool. Are you generating a couple of thumbnails and testing them at the same time using YouTube's tester?
For the most part, yes. Today's I didn't because I just knew that it was going to do well. So I tested the titles. So
yeah, there's like an intuition, you know, sometimes you're like, you know what, this thumbnail is going to hit. Now let's only test the titles. And sometimes it's like, I don't know, it's a crapshoot. Let me just try both of these thumbnails or 3 of these thumbnails.
Yep.
And how it goes with doing it again and again and again and again. Very cool about that. Okay. So we're going to do a quick to end the interview, just like a rapid fire. You kind of already you answered some of these already, but we'll just go through it again. You said for the editing, your husband does the editing, right?
Yes.
Okay. And how long does it take him to edit each video?
A YouTube video takes him about 3 days.
How many hours is that? Like, is it full time each of those days?
No, definitely not. We go to the gym in the middle of the day. We have lunch. He makes dinner. So probably 15 hours.
Okay. 15 hours. And how many videos are you uploading a week?
7 a month.
7 a
long
month.
form and 8 short form.
That's right. You said the shorts. Okay. And are you currently doing brand deals with the shorts as well, correct?
Yes, but I only try to do 1 a month because I don't want it to seem like every single short we're posting is a ad.
So what do you see as the strategic benefit to doing your shorts on your channel?
Subscriber growth purely. I don't think it's obviously it's not a money generator. I mean, you could sure get some. Other than that, it's mainly to get more views on like long form too. It can generate, but mostly from subscriber standpoint. We've seen it. Like if we don't post shorts, then our subscribers trickle down.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because I know there's always this thing like, should we do shorts or not? But it's like I've come to the conclusion shorts don't really make you any money. If you want to do it, it might get you more subscribers. But even then, those subscribers don't necessarily watch the long form content.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah. But how much work is it for you to do all those shorts?
I will film and put together 3 a day.
Okay.
So if I'm only doing 8 in the month, like it takes my time, let's call it 3 days. And then my husband can knock out editing 3 in a day as well.
Yeah.
So,
okay. So you find it's beneficial just to kind of get your channel growing in general, the subscribers.
Yeah. And I think like even if your spirits are high, and so like when we see that views are up and subscribers are up and things are going, like it makes us like, oh, keep going. And we keep posting better things. And if everything's slumping down, then we're like, oh, nobody likes us anymore. And so then that's where we stopped making shorts last year. And it really took a nosedive with our growth across the board with subscribers. We only grew 100K very lucky to have grown 100K in a year, but we had higher goals than that. And this year we did 100K in 5 months. So shorts make a big difference for us.
So you think that was because of the shorts?
And even I should say that last year we didn't post shorts for the first 4 months and things were trickling down. So I started making a couple months 5 and 6, and then 6 through 12, we did post the shorts again. And that's where we got the most growth because the first 6 months last year, I think we only got like 15,000 subscribers in 6 months. And now I just said we did 100K.
Yeah. And I think for you, it works because what the problem that can happen sometimes is like you get a channel that is growing through their shorts and then you have this like disconnect between the number of subscribers and the number of views. And then it looks bad too. Like it looks bad to have a lot of subscribers and not a lot of views on your long form videos, but you have great views on your long form. So it doesn't seem to be impacting negatively, at least like your long form, your long form views. Like are you still growing with your long form views, or is that something that you're always figuring out how to get more of those views?
Last year, we also experimented with our long form videos, having my husband in them more often, because again, with the idea of maybe having babies down the road, if he could make his own videos and we can make the channel not Lillie Kane, it's Bryce and Lillie, because it is a 50-50 thing. And I also think partially he doesn't get as much credit like from his family or what they'll say, oh, you're doing such a good job, Lillie. He's 50% of the work. And so I don't know if people realize that. And so I would love for him to have more credit. And so we tried having him in the videos more, and it just didn't seem to be resonating with my audience as well. And so that was probably another reason why our long form videos didn't do as well. But then this year, we've really just focused on providing as much value as humanly possible instead of just like trying to incorporate another element.
Yeah.
And so our average views per long form video after 30 days is about 100K, 115. And then for our short form videos in the past, they used to be about 100K. And nowadays it's probably after 30 days, I don't know, 60 or something. So they've been, because we haven't been putting as much effort into the shorts. I used to like really film every 2 seconds a different scene in a different grocery store in a different spot of my house. And nowadays, sometimes I'll just jump on and talk like this for 60 seconds in a short form.
It's just, I don't know if it's worth the effort to do all that for the shorts, unless you're getting sponsorships on them. Like, what's the point, really? Just for more views and subs that isn't necessarily going to translate to the long form. So, okay, interesting. Who comes up with the video ideas, you or your husband?
Me.
You. So you do all the strategy. So you do the video ideas, the thumbnail concepts. You do all that. Okay.
Yep. He does the telling me they're not good. That's his job.
All right. Well, he comes in and so then does he have opinions on that too?
Yeah, sometimes. And if I'm confident in something, I don't even ask him. But if I'm like, oh, I was thinking about doing a sunscreen video, he's like, half your audience is men. I'm like, I'm still doing it. And then it's totally struggled. It didn't do well. So
there you go. So then how long does filming one long form video take you?
Our long form videos are usually about 15 minutes on average, let's say. Depends on the video. The recipes take me forever. People think it's just like, oh, it's a recipe. It'll, takes her 10 minutes. Oh my gosh. I filmed a whole recipe video yesterday from 7:30 in the morning till 7 at night.
Yeah.
And it seems like, oh, she just made pancakes. It took her 10 minutes. I messed it up. It didn't look good. The lighting wasn't great. The audio, the fridge turned on, so it just takes a long time. But usually it takes me about an hour.
Oh, usually. So I would imagine the recipe videos, you're like, I'll only do like maybe 1 or 2 a month.
Yes, but people love them, and it really does well with subscribers too. So I've been thinking about doing them more often, but I'm not even I like to make the same thing every day. So it's fun, like having something different, but
yeah,
it's mainly because people want to know, how can I make a healthy pancake? How can I make a healthy pizza?
Yeah. What is the most unglamorous part of the job that nobody sees?
Emails. Oh, what?
You're like, nothing.
It's like, because I will finish my emails and go through all of them and be like, boom, another one comes in. Yeah. It's like it never stops. Yeah. And so I've just had to find peace with that. Like, it'll never end, and just like take, do a lump of them when you can. If you didn't finish them, they'll be there. And more will come in, and you'll probably never catch up. It's like I always felt relief. My emails are clear. My inbox has nothing. And then that lasted for an hour. So.
And what are most of the emails? Like the brand deals, probably?
Yeah. I get a lot from just people saying nice things. So it's like a good thing to have. Yeah. Good problem. But
we'll keep up with.
Or even people wanting to have like more free advice. Like, okay, but I weigh this much weight. How should I lose weight? And so it's here. Book a coaching call, but I really do try to just provide value. So anytime somebody sends me something, I'm just like, here, this is exactly what I do, or watch this video.
Watch this video. Yeah. Direct. Here's some resources to help you. What is the weirdest piece of feedback you've ever gotten from a viewer?
Is it like positive or negative? You're saying weird.
Yeah, weird. What's like, you're like, oh, okay. That's weird.
I don't know.
Okay, well, say what's the maybe most unusual, or what's a piece of feedback that took you by surprise?
Well, I think I have a great brain that deletes the bad stuff. So I only keep thinking of good things, where people are like, oh, you're really funny, or you make things light, or, someone told me that they have Lillie Kane nights in their house, which was really fun for me to hear, that they basically said whenever they want to eat super boring and simple and minimalistic and they don't want to cook, then they just have like plain ground beef and a piece of cheese or something. And that's what their family, with their kids and everything. We have Lillie Kane nights when we don't want to cook.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That's great. Well, Lillie, this has been awesome. It was so interesting to hear your story from, your humble beginnings to where you're at now, and just how you've been able to create an amazing life for yourself with a career that you get to do with your husband, and just help people at the same time. I truly believe you're a representation of part of the reason why I do this show. Is like, I want to show women that like YouTube is an incredible opportunity, and that if you have the motivation and the drive and the desire to do it, you can really change your life. Any last words to maybe somebody that's listening that maybe was in that position where you were years ago, not sure, or just not sure if they should do YouTube? Maybe could use a little encouragement.
I think that your intention matters a lot. Like, why are you doing something if you're doing it only for the money or only for clout or only to prove yourself, you know? And that doesn't mean that you can't want money or you can't want to grow, but I think that are you doing it just because everyone's doing it or because it looks fun? It is the best job in the world. So, hopefully you can find a way of really feeling in your heart, like, I want to help people know how to save their money or how to be a better parent or how to whatever that thing is. Because I watch videos on how to change the light bulb in my house. So there's so many ways that you can help people. And if you just stay true to that, that was one of the best pieces of advice somebody gave me when I first started with YouTube is just like, eventually you'll run into strangers in the street who say, oh my gosh, I follow your channel, or I love you, or you've helped me. And not letting it get to your ego too much. Just remember, you know, we're all people here and just try to help.
Mm-hmm. Well, I love that. I think you definitely have been helping a lot of people. So thank you for coming on to this show. I love chatting with you. And for people that aren't familiar with you and your content, where can they find you?
I'm Lillie Kane on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and lilliekane.com is my website.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much, Lillie.
Of course, thank you.
Bye.